If you are a light sleeper or someone who's bothered by noises in your bedroom, then these might be for you. These are the newly released Sleep A30 from Soundcore. Let's find out more. So personally, I'm unfortunate to be a very light sleeper. Even the slightest noise wakes me up. I'm also unfortunate to be living in an apartment in a city with my bedroom overlooking a busy street. Even with double pane windows, sound still makes its way to my room, whether it's loud cars or motorcycles or garbage trucks early in the morning. So I've always sleep with earbuds in, and I've tried everything from those disposable single-use memory foam earplugs to silicone earplugs to almost every other kind under the sun. And for the longest time, I've been using these. These are from Alpine, and I did review them on the channel, and I've been using them for over a year now. They do the job. They block out the noises, but they're not the most comfortable after prolonged use. You do feel some pressure in your ears. Sometimes and occasionally they do fall out. So while they have been the best that I've found thus far, and that's why I've been using them, they're not perfect. And this is why when I saw that Soundcore are releasing an upgraded version of their sleep buds, I was very curious to see. So I ordered a pair on Kickstarter actually, and I got them about a week or 10 days ago, and I've been using them every night to sleep. And I'm here to tell you more about them. Now, I did review their original Sleep A10s maybe 2 years ago, and while they were promising, I wasn't happy with their battery life. The Sleep A30 have a lot of improvement on the battery life front, but also on many other fronts, including ANC, so they now have active noise cancellation. So let's talk more about those. Before we start, it's important to set some expectations. Firstly, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts and my experience using these, but what applies to me might not apply to you. On the most basic levels, ears come in all shapes and sizes, and just because I experienced a good fit, for example, doesn't mean you will too. Also, the nature of sounds that I'm exposed to might differ from those that you are exposed to. So take everything I say, I'm not going to say with a grain of salt, but just keep an open mind that if it applies to me, doesn't necessarily apply to you. That's the first thing. The second thing is I'm going to judge these in absolute value and not in context. And what I mean to say is in absolute value, I expect certain things from products. And when they don't deliver or when they do not meet those expectations, well, I'm not very happy with those products. And as sleep buds, I have some expectations. And the reason I say I'm judging these in absolute value is because, yes, I do understand how small and tiny these are. And I do understand there will be some limitations. For example, how large of a battery they can fit in this small thing, leading to battery life. Also, how well the ANC or the active noise cancellation can be given the size. I completely understand that. And that's why I'm saying it might not be fair what I'm about to say. But as a consumer, I don't really care about the tech limitations. I care about the product delivering in ways I need it to. And this is the angle I'm going to take here. Having said that, let's talk about the features. And the most important feature, I think, here is ANC, active noise cancellation. And if you don't know what that is, that's the same technology that you find in Bose earbuds or headphones, for example, or AirPods, etc., that actively cancel out noises around you and works by having microphones on the earbuds that monitor the surrounding noises, and then they create an inverse sound wave to kind of cancel out those sounds. And that typically works in conjunction with passive noise isolation, and that part is simply blocking your ear canal. So earbuds that you put in, or even headphones, they block your ear and they passively block noise from coming in. So both passive and active noise cancellation work together to block sounds from entering your ears. And to be honest, I was very excited about active noise cancellation on these because if it works, it's a big thing. We have very few options in the market today with sleep buds that have active noise cancellation. And if you're wondering why they have to be sleep buds, there's a lot of earbuds with active noise cancellation. And that's because most, if not all, earbuds are too large for you to be comfortably sleeping in them. They're great and they're pretty small for everyday use, but not when you're sleeping, especially that there's a lot of side sleeper out there and you want something that's completely flush. So for comparison, these are the AirPods Pro 2nd generation, which are typically very small earbuds. And these are the Soundcore Sleep A30. So they're way smaller. And you can notice that, of course, when you put these in your ear, these are not completely flush. So if you're sleeping on your side, these are not going to be comfortable. Whereas if I put the Sleep A30, look how tiny and flush in my ear they are. And I can comfortably sleep on my side with absolutely no discomfort. I won't even feel that they're there. And that's the reason why you need something like Sleep Buds. So back to the ANC on these, and to be honest, I'm not sure if I expected better. I was hoping for better, but I knew there was going to be some concessions and limitations just because of how small these are. I'm not going to say it doesn't work, but I didn't feel it does a lot. So with low frequency sounds, and this is where ANC works best, it does reduce them just a little bit, but not by much. So it's not even comparable to AirPods Pro 2nd Gen or the Bose QC earbuds, which have one of the best active noise cancellation in the market. And maybe it's not fair to expect them to, but I was hoping for slightly better ANC. Now, it definitely is better than not having ANC at all, but don't expect them to be groundbreaking or to really eliminate loud noises. They're just going to attenuate them just a little bit. I did compare them with some low frequency sounds to the silicone buds from Alpine that I've been using, and they were a bit comparable, maybe slightly better, not by much. So I would say pretty comparable. Difference is, of course, they were far more comfortable to wear than these. These have to be shoved deep into your ear canal, whereas these don't. So they're going to give you similar performance to something like silicone earbuds. Probably not as good as foam earplugs, but they're going to be, in my opinion, infinitely more comfortable than foam earplugs. So don't expect much from the ANC. I'm glad it's there. I do hope it does get better, and it could potentially get better with software or firmware updates. I know Soundcore did release a firmware upgrade about 2 days ago that enhances the noise cancellation. So fingers crossed that in the future, this will get better. Now, of course, the advantage of these sleep buds is not only that they have noise cancellation, they do passive and active noise cancellation, but they're also noise masking. And what that means is that they play some audio, whether it's white noise or other kinds of audio files. And the reason that works is because when you have something playing in your ear that is constant, it drowns out certain surges or sudden noises. It also helps mask other constant noises, like certain hums you might have or a partner that is snoring. And in that area, I think these work exceptionally well. And let me show you the different options that you have, and there's a lot. So in the app, you have 3 different kinds or categories of sounds. You have brain audio, which is something new that they've introduced, and let me read to you exactly what they say about this. Binaural beats deliver different frequencies to each ear, which helps sync your brainwaves with calming patterns to promote relaxation and restful sleep. So I cannot comment on how truthful that is or how much of marketing talk it is, but what I can say, they sound real nice, and there's a lot of things that you can do. So some of them, as you can see, are categorized for sleep and others for focus. And if you click on one of those, there's a few things that you can actually configure. So with tuning, you can configure the audio density, the audio space, and the audio brightness. But what's very interesting is in elements, you can add or remove certain elements from these sounds or these audio files, like the singing bowl, a wooden fish, bubble sounds, rain sounds, etc. And you can mix and match and add certain elements to these sounds, which sound really nice. So that's a very nice thing. And again, there's a couple of options over here. There's the ocean, forest, deep learning, productivity boost, and inner beast. And again, you can add elements or remove elements from these files. And then you've got the snore masking files, and these are a bunch over here, as you can see. From a campfire to stormfall to rushing stream of water, etc. And these also sound really good. They're not as high quality or high definition that I would have hoped, but they sound pretty good. And then you've got white noise, and there's a bunch of different things over here. And again, you can add multiple elements. So you can add white noise, and then you can add light rain, for example, and then you can add a microfire. So you can add different elements, and you got different categories as well, like colored noise, you got water, you've got nature, you've got life, and you've got meditation. So there's a bunch of audio tracks that you can actually listen to. Now, the nice thing about these is that they function both locally and via Bluetooth. And what I mean by locally is you can download one audio track to the earbuds themselves, and they play locally without Bluetooth, without your phone, without any connection, which extends battery life. And this is typically how most sleep buds work. They don't really function as regular earbuds with an active Bluetooth connection. The nice thing about these is that they do. So if I go back to the main screen, you can change the listening mode from Bluetooth to local. And if you select Bluetooth, then they function as regular earbuds. You can play any music file, whether from the app itself or from whatever music service you use or podcast. Now, do keep in mind though, over Bluetooth, they're gonna use a lot of battery, and that brings me to the battery life. So I tested these with local audio and I got about 8.5 hours of battery life with active noise cancellation on, which is not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's slightly more than the typically recommended 8 hours of sleep, which is okay. My concern is as these get used more and more, the battery is gonna degrade, and I'm not sure if eventually they're gonna last through the full night. With Bluetooth on, however, I got about 6.5 hours of battery life out of these before they shut down, which is not enough for a full night's sleep. Now, mind you, there are two use cases here. Some people who need these to fall asleep because it is very noisy in their bedroom, and then once they're asleep, they're fine. And then there are people who, like me, don't really have an issue falling asleep, but rather come morning, then the city is alive and there's a lot of noises, and this is when I personally would wake up. And I understand maybe for most people it's the other way around. They just need help falling asleep, and then once they're asleep, they're fine. Unfortunately, I don't really need these to fall asleep, but rather to stay awake in the morning, which means I need them to last the entire night because it's in the morning where I need them the most. And in Bluetooth mode, that doesn't happen. They're off after 6.5 hours. In local mode, for now, they do work. And I did test them out over several nights, and I typically would not wake up to the city noises in the morning as I would if I wasn't using them. Now, if you do not need them to be on all the time, then I think these are perfect for you because they also can monitor when you fall asleep and switch off Bluetooth to save battery life. And here you have the option to either play local audio when you switch off Bluetooth or to stop audio altogether. And assuming it doesn't take you 4 hours to fall asleep, I think they should be able to last you through the night if they stop playing audio or switch to local audio after you fall asleep. Now, for someone like me, that was a problem before because I did not want them to stop playing audio. But Soundcore actually listened to user feedback and released a firmware upgrade 2 days ago that gives us the option to turn off sleep detection. We didn't have that before. So right now you can turn it off. And essentially, if you're playing something over Bluetooth, it's going to continue playing after you fall asleep. The downside, of course, is that earbuds are going to turn off after about 6.5 hours. So they're not going to last through the entire night. But you do now have the option to turn sleep detection off. And lastly, you can set an alarm, of course, if you want to wake up at a certain time without your phone actually ringing and waking up potentially your partner. So an alarm will sound in your ears, which is nice to have. Now, the way you control these, either through the phone itself or through touch controls, which have become more responsive ever since the last firmware upgrade 2 days ago. And the gestures are a double tap to switch between Bluetooth mode and local mode, which is nice to have because you don't really need to have your phone next to you to actually operate these. And then if you want to increase or decrease the volume, triple tap on the left decreases, triple tap on the right earbud increases the volume. Another interesting feature they have is that the case itself has microphones, and they say it can monitor the ambient sound and if someone is snoring in the room and automatically adjust the sound that's played. Now, unfortunately, I could not get that to work. Mind you, I cannot test that firsthand. I do not have a snoring partner to test these with. However, I did try to simulate YouTube videos of snoring sounds, and it did not really work. I don't know if that's because the snoring sounds were played over speakers rather than actual someone who's snoring. But yeah, I could not test that particular feature to tell you guys if it works well or not. The last thing I want to show you is that it actually generates a sleep report. It has sensors on the earbuds and they monitor how well you're sleeping, how many times you're twisting and turning, and it generates a report. It's not very detailed, but it gives you an idea of how much time you've spent in bed, how much total time you were asleep, how many times you woke up, and it gives you a score for the sleep efficiency. These sleep buds come with a bunch of different ear tips, and also there's the wing over here, so you can customize and mix and match to get a secure fit. They also come with silicone ear tips or foam ones like these. The foam ones do block out more sound. They are also, in my opinion, more comfortable and they give you a more secure fit. However, these are consumables, so eventually the foam is going to deteriorate and you're going to have to replace them. Not sure how long they're going to last, but just something to keep in mind. Having said that, my thoughts on these. To be honest, I expected a bit better, but I'm quite happy with them just because there aren't many options in the market today for sleep buds. I'm glad they have noise cancellation, but I did not find it to be extremely powerful. I would have liked if it was better. Still hopeful they might tweak some things in a new firmware upgrade and enhance the performance of the noise cancellation. I don't think it's going to do wonders, just going to give you a slight attenuation of certain low frequency sounds. In terms of the battery life, I'm glad at least I can get a full 8 hours in local mode, but I also expected slightly better battery life. They are rated at 9 hours with 1 hour of Bluetooth playback, which is higher than what I got. I got about 8.5 hours without any Bluetooth playback. So I would have liked if the battery life was also slightly better. In terms of comfort, they were extremely comfortable to wear. You barely notice that they are in your ear. I've been using the foam ear tips and I can easily sleep on my side without even feeling that there's anything in my ear. So in terms of comfort, they're great. And the audio library that they have of white noise and other sounds, I think is pretty decent. So in that regard, I think they do deliver well. And again, it depends on what your use cases are and why you need sleep buds and what kind of noises you're subjected to, and if you need them to fall asleep or to stay asleep throughout the night. I think they hold a lot of potential. I'm going to continue using them. I think they are much more comfortable than silicone earplugs that I've been using. So I'm going to continue using them in local audio mode until something better comes along. The last thing I wish they did have was wireless charging on the case. That would have been immensely helpful, especially that this is going to be sitting on a nightstand in most cases next to the bed. So if that had wireless charging, would have been very easy to top it off or just have it on a wireless charger. They're not cheap, so I'm not sure why they did not include wireless charging with something like this. Maybe thoughts for Soundcore for their next generation. Just give us wireless charging. That's it for me. I'll put links in the description to the product page of the Soundcore Sleep A30. These could be affiliate links, so if you do decide to purchase them, I would appreciate if you'd go through the links. I may earn a small commission at absolutely no extra cost to you, but this will greatly help support the channel. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel, as this encourages me to continue producing content. Until next time, cheers.